Lesson number 12 for Wednesday, September 13th. Standing on the ancient battlefield. As you read through Ephesians 6:10-20 again, noting each time Paul uses some form of the verb stand. Why is this idea so important to him? Now, we must understand Paul's military metaphor in the context of the ancient battlefield. What did it mean to stand? Does the verb suggest a defensive-only posture? Battle speeches included in the writings of Thucydides, one of the great classical authors of battle literature, highlight three successive actions that must occur if a side is to be victorious. Number one, soldiers must close with the enemy, which means they must march to meet their foes. Then, number two, they must attack and stand fast, or stand our ground, fighting hand to hand with their foes. And finally, number three, they must beat back the enemy. The key moment of an ancient battle occurred with the second of these three actions, when the two opposing phalanxes came crashing together in a terrible cacophony of smashed bronze, wood, and flesh, which ancient author Xenophon refers to as that awful clash. That from his book, The Western Way of War, page 152 and 53, by Victor Davis Hanson. Standing firm, holding one's ground at this strategic moment, was the great challenge of ancient battle. In the close combat that would ensue, each side would seek momentum for the push. Now, Paul's call to arms reflects combat in which soldiers were bunched together, giving and receiving hundreds of blows at close range. This is confirmed by Paul's depiction of the church's battle against its foes as a wrestling match, and in his use of an intensive form of the verb to stand in verse 13, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. This is no relaxed stance, for to stand, then, is to vigorously engage in battle, employing every weapon in close order combat, a point obvious from the military imagery in Paul's earlier exhortation to be found standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 and 4 depict this kind of experience. Verse 1 says, "Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which thus so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." And we see that the Christian is involved in a battle to do away with being a prisoner of any type of sin in their lives. And not only do we need divine power for that to happen, but we also must be humanly engaged in that process. Verse 4 says that you have not yet resisted to blood, striving against sin. And that's the key. Our enemy and the enemy of God would have us to be caught up and enslaved in some type of sinful experience. Obviously, an experience that would keep us in a deviant condition from God's commandments. But the battle of the Christian is primarily one in which he seeks continual victory from temptation to move away from God's commandments. So how does Hebrews 12, 1 and 4 help encapsulate what it means to stand in the Lord. What is the corporate nature of the standing as well? So remember, the standing is not a passive posture. It is an active and vigorous, aggressive, firm defense and offensive approach to fighting our enemy. In Heavenly Places, page 260, it says, "In every age since the fall of Adam, the opposition of evil agencies has made the lives of those who would be loyal and true to God's commandments a continual warfare." And that's the key. The enemy will try to get us to habitually fall away from any of the 10 commandments so that he can enslave us. But we are to stand firm in any temptation that would allure us into deviating from any of those postulates. Those who would at last be victorious must meet and conquer the forces of Satan, who with fierce determination opposes every step of advance. Just remember, Revelation talks about the overcomers as being the ones who will be granted eternal life. And the overcomer is one who keeps the commandments of God. They must meet a vigilant foe, a crafty enemy who never sleeps and who tries untiringly to undermine the faith of God's servants. I wish that I could trace words which would present this matter as it is. God expects his soldiers to be ever on duty. Never are they to yield to temptation, never to be unjust. They are neither to yield nor flee. Relying on the strength of God, they are to maintain their integrity. With a firmness that will not yield an inch, they are to hold fast to the word. It is written. Have a blessed day as you contemplate on the reality that we need to stand firm, just like the Roman soldier did, against any and all attacks of the enemy to get us to violate any of God's principles of life. And this standing will take all the human energy and action that we can muster, but coupled with divine strength, it will be possible to be victorious. Have a great day as you contemplate that the reality of a happy, positive, safe, and peaceful life is possible only as you do battle with evil and conquer in the strength of God. God bless.